Notice of a public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a workshop, an executive session, and a regular meeting on Monday, February 2nd, 2009 at 4:40 p.m., 5:30 p.m., and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of Brownsville City Hall Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, 78520. A workshop, presentation of City Charter Committee recommendations for amendments to the City Charter, and discussion of those recommendations.
Mr. Josie.
Mayor, Commissioners, the chairman of the Charter Review Commission has not finished putting together his package, and has asked that you all table this until the next meeting.
With a table.
Table?
With a table.
Table by Commissioner Longoria, second by Commissioner Camarillo.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You know, Mr. Josie, we have an election coming up, so we need to
I know,
we need to
Commissioner,
address it.
and
The chairman can't be here, then let's have somebody else.
Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item B, discussion regarding the operations of the record rotation list.
Mr. Robert Esparza.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening, good afternoon. I'm here to discuss the record rotation for the City of Brownsville, and there were some issues that came up that they were already been settled. I would like to just to approve that to go ahead not to continue this meeting on the record rotation. Is there any questions you'd like to answer? I would like to answer.
No. Any questions?
Are you going to give us a presentation?
I was, but it's all taken care of. I'm not going to do the presentation after all.
So you already addressed the...
I already addressed the issues already.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Esparza.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Esparza.
Yeah. Thank you.
City Attorney, what would we... Oh, I'm sorry, it's just discussion. Sorry.
This being disposed of, I guess we too early for executive session. We have to wait for 5:30, right?
That's correct.
So we have a recess.
I move to recess until 5:30 for executive session.
Motion made by Commissioner Longoria, second by Commissioner Garza. To recess to 5:30. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Recess. Go play.
You took up the action.
Executive session, item A, consultation with attorney pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code regarding contemplated litigation.
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
A motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, if you will please rise. So we have a pledge of allegiance. Please face the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
How you doing, guys? Let us pray. We don't have too many people, but God hears even 2 or 3. The Bible says, where there's 2 or 3 conjured in my name, there I shall be. That's what the Bible says, and we're more than 2 and 3. Father God, through Jesus, your Son, we give you thanks, Lord, for this wonderful meeting. Father God, we want to pray also for our president and for our nation and for our country. Bless that President Obama and bless everyone here, the officers here, whatever they're doing, Father God. In Jesus Christ's name, Father God, they're trying. If they do wrong or if they do right, we're here in the world. We're not perfect. But in your name, Father God, we ask you to help us open this meeting. In Jesus Christ's name, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, we give you thanks, Lord. Help us to open the meeting. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. Okay. There is no action on the executive session item. So we'll go to number one, the mayor's
Number
report.
one is the mayor's report.
Okay, I will give you a synopsis. We have a legislative trip to Austin. We'll be leaving, some of us will be leaving tomorrow morning in support of the Brownsville Chamber, Brownsville Economic Development Corporation, promoting the legislative agenda for Brownsville and the other entities, which is, I think, a good thing for Brownsville, because it's a time that we need to make sure that our needs are heard and our concerns are heard during this 2009 legislative session. I think the response has been good based on the trips I've taken to Austin, met with legislators, and based on people coming down here. And hopefully we get some funding and also some bills passed that will help our area. I, along with Commissioner Atkinson, Commissioner Longoria, I believe that was it, traveled to Mexico City to welcome and designate Mr. Amigo, who will be Dr. Jose Suleiman. He is, for many of you who do not know, he is equivalent to the boxing commissioner for Mexico and Latin America. Is that right?
The world.
The world. The world? Yes. Okay.
President.
Okay. The commissioner, he has been for 33 years. This man has a lot of experience, been everywhere in the world. He's a very interesting fellow, and I hope many of you will attend the luncheon and the functions that are laid out by Mr. Amigo, and you will get to know him. It was a good reception, and I think it was very positive. The 2008-2009 federal appropriations is something that we need to start working on. Last year, on the day of deadline, nothing had been filed. Thanks, we got everything put together and made sure we got those things filed for in time on that day. Hopefully that won't happen this year because we depend on funding for housing, the airport, transit, and all those federal grants. So we need to prepare for that, and hopefully we'll have a lobbyist that will help us as compared to last year. The partnership group legislative tour to the Valley, I think, was a success. We had about 50 legislators. Would that be right? About 50 legislators around here visiting our city and the county and the Valley, and I think they left with a good impression. Some of us had the opportunity to meet with them personally and voice the concerns for the citizens of Brownsville, and I thought that was a very good, positive thing for them to come down here. We need to also prepare the President Obama's stimulus package. Again, on the deadline, Brownsville had not submitted anything. Through my instructions, Ben, where have you been? Ben? I instructed Ben to help me get our items submitted. We submitted about $112 million, and this is funds coming from the federal government. There's no guarantee that we'll get them, but it's important that we're submitting projects to make sure that Brownsville is considered for some of this federal funding. TxDOT Commissioner came to visit Brownsville. His name is Fred Underwood. He's one of 5 TxDOT commissioners. We showed him and gave him a tour of Brownsville. He met with the MPO, and I think he left with a good perspective of the needs of Brownsville. These are the things that take place, like I said, in a very brief report that's ongoing all the time, and it's important to Brownsville to make sure that we meet the right people, make sure our concerns are heard, make sure that our needs are at least considered when the funding is very competitive, especially with the state having shortfalls of $9.2 billion. The federal government also having many issues. In some areas are cutting back, and now we're talking about stimulus package, but we need to make sure that we're there making sure that our needs for the citizens of Brownsville are heard and met. Now, I put here an item on the mayor's right to submit items to the city commission agenda. I want the public to know that I don't have that right. I cannot put anything on the agenda without the approval of one commissioner. I don't think that's the way it's meant to work. I am the highest elected executive officer. People from staff can put something on the agenda. The city manager can put something on the agenda. But the people's representative, the mayor, cannot put anything on the agenda without getting permission from one of the commissioners. So if they don't approve, it's blocked before it even gets to the floor, and I don't think that's the way it should be. I also think that by trying to get a consensus or somebody to agree to put something on the agenda, you could easily violate the Open Meetings Act because you're discussing the people's business behind closed doors without even bringing it to the commission. Based on that, I want people to know that I don't agree with this policy, and I think it should change, just like the policy I didn't agree that the mayor couldn't vote, and that was restored after a year, and I think that's unfortunate. Trying to micromanage the mayor is not, I think, in the best interest of this community. The mayor is the public spokesman of the community. He is the elected leader of the community, and he should have the right to put things on the agenda based on what he sees that needs to go on there. Last Friday, I got a call from a citizen that had an issue, and I wanted to put it in the agenda. I couldn't put it in the agenda. I had to call the city manager, who was on vacation, and I didn't want to bother him, but I had to bother him to try and get this on the agenda. Staff did put it on the agenda, but I shouldn't have to go through that. So that's just for you to know. Now, number 2, Commissioner's report. We have Commissioner Cisneros.
Yeah, I just want to give a brief update on the Palo Verde subdivision. I want to thank all the residents for their patience. To let you know that this project, when we did the Palo Verde subdivision, the resurfacing of the streets, we had purposely left out the main entrance, the Palo Verde entrance, because water lines needed to be moved. That project was finally awarded by PUB and to a contractor, and it was under PUB supervision. I've been constantly on them on the phone with Fernando at PUB and with staff trying to move this project along. I know it's been a tough situation for the residents. I've gone out there on weekends and driven it early in the mornings, and it was a mess. So, I'm sorry? Yeah, and the contract did not include the paving portion. The original contract only was for the removal and replacing of the water lines. That finally got done, so now we're in the process. I want to thank Mr. Santana Torres and Public Works, because I've been on the phone with them as well, trying to push this project along. And what I'm hearing now is that it's finally going to get resurfaced on Wednesday, so weather permitting. So I just want to thank them, and I know that the contract is going to be done by RML Construction, so I've already placed a call to them so as we can push the project along and finally get this main entrance into Palo Verde done. So we're looking at Wednesday. Just wanted to let the people, the residents of Palo Verde subdivision know, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Commissioner. Presentations, Employee of the Month. City Manager.
I know.
Slow down a little bit. Mayor, members of the commission, please help me welcome the employee for the month of February 2009, Jaime Carabello. Sorry.
Congratulations.
As you can see, Jaime is dressed in the uniform that he wears to work every day, which is as a bus driver for the urban system, the Brownsville urban system. He's been one of our best bus drivers over the last few years. One of the unique things that is done at bus is we have 50 bus drivers, and we select through the department an employee of the month and also an employee of the year within the bus drivers just to give them some morale boost and ensure that they're doing the best job they can for our community. And I'm happy to report that Jaime was employee of the month for 2008 for the bus drivers, and has received employee of the month on many occasions. He's very friendly. Always has a smile. He treats the people that ride the bus, helps them out, goes beyond the call of duty, assists us with other bus drivers that maybe new, and assuring that they understand our system and our way of doing things. So he's done a fantastic job. So he is Employee of the Month for February, and he's also eligible for Employee of the Year at our banquet in December. He's going to have to wait about 10 more months to find that out. So I welcome Heinz.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Heinz. Of course, he gets the cap. It might not be the same color as his uniform. And the pins, the Employee of the Month pins, and the plaque in recognition for outstanding service rendered to the city of Brownsville for the month of February. Presented on the second day of February 2015.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you for
Thank you for all your hard work, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
We've got 3 pins.
Okay,
Item 4, consent agenda items A through H.
Move to approve.
second. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Camarillo, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5.
Item 5, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint 6 members to the Airport Advisory Board.
Members of the Commission, there are several members of the advisory board who are scheduled for your consideration. I believe you have a copy of the list. We'll be more than happy to-
Everybody's
And,
seeking a reappointment, Larry?
Pardon?
Is everyone?
No, actually, there's
No.
some are. Mr. Hamilton, who I believe was Ms. Arroyo's appointment, indicated that he would not be seeking a reappointment.
That's correct.
I would move to appoint Luis Cavazos. I provided the commission with his application. He's a former banker and has a MBA as well. I'd like to
I'll
offer
second
him
that.
We have a motion second by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to recommend a gentleman by the name of Joel Zapata. He's a retired employee of CP&L. He has a real estate license. He's a broker, has a bachelor's degree in business marketing. He is a past executive officer for
Who's he replacing?
He's taking John Reed's place.
Okay, and whose appointment was that?
I don't know.
It was
I'll
Commissioner
second. I'll
Atkinson.
second.
It was mine, but go ahead.
I'll second it.
So we have a second by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Who else is there?
For the
I'll make
record,
a
it was
motion to
Commissioner
reappoint.
Atkinson's appointment, okay?
There are 4 others on the list, some scheduled for reappointment because the term is scheduled.
Who are they? Do you know their names?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I'll get to this. You
I
might go
think
over that.
I'll make a motion to
I'm sorry,
reappoint
You might go over that.
Well, hold on.
But
The
they're not,
same-
are they,
the members
are
are-
they up for appointment?
Yeah, they
Yes.
are.
There are 4
Well-
others other than the 2 that you mentioned that are
Is there one
scheduled
to
for
be
either
reappointed?
I know Carol
reappointment-
Marks and Mr. Manuel.
I want
Right.
to reappoint mine, Carol Marks.
Second.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was that, Commissioner?
Carol Mark,
He
myself.
wants to
Right,
reappoint
that's one.
Carol Marks. This is Mr. Camarillo's appointment,
Right.
okay? And second by Commissioner.
Manuel Alcocer,
And who
too, I
seconded
believe
for
you
you?
have on your
I'll
chart.
make a motion to appoint
Commissioner
Manuel
Manuel.
Alcocer.
Manuel Alcocer, I'll make the motion to appoint
I'll
him.
second.
We got a motion here. Would you mind waiting?
You want to just
Yeah.
read the list?
We got a motion here
Yeah.
by Commissioner Camarillo. He's got a
Already
second
voted
by
on it.
Commissioner Troyani and Carol Marks. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, okay?
I'll make a motion to
You have
appoint Mr.
appointment?
Manuel Alcocer.
Second.
Okay, that's his appointment?
Oh.
Yes, that's my.
Commissioner Cisneros, who was your appointment?
Yes.
Who was your
Manuel
appointment?
Alcocer.
That was,
Mr.
Commissioner.
Manuel Alcocer. That's
Right.
my.
Manuel Jose, that's Commissioner Cisneros' appointment.
Second.
Do we have a second? Commissioner Camarillo, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there any more appointments?
you have
Yeah,
2 of the more recent appointments, should you choose to reappoint them. They were filling out a term, an unexpired term.
There was,
They're on your list, too.
whose appointments were those?
Charlie, it's yours. Yeah.
Sorry,
They-
Larry, whose appointments were those?
They came from the commission.
Yes.
Mayor, if I may, the 2 that had left to deal with are Dr. Joseph Yoste, is listed as Commissioner Atkinson's appointment, and Alex Anzaldúa.
Right.
That's listed as Commissioner Garza's appointment.
Well, I move that we reappoint Alex Ansaldúa. He was the assistant principal at Hannah High School He likes what he's doing. He's a young man, very energetic.
I'll second, he's
We have
always
a
at the
motion,
meetings.
that's Commissioner Garcia's appointment.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Camarillo seconds that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there another appointment?
No, I believe you covered them
Ruben
all.
Rodriguez, is he coming up?
No, there,
No, I
excuse
think
me.
he was
That's it.
appointed about
Yeah,
6 months
Dr.
ago.
Yost?
Yours, Charlie?
I believe they did that.
Did they? Okay.
Question.
Dr. Yost?
Did you take action regarding Dr.
Yeah,
Yost?
sorry, everybody starts at the same time. It's not fair to you. Now, would you please?
Yes, just a question. Did you take action with regard to Dr. Yost's
Yeah,
appointment?
has he been shown up to the meetings?
We have not
Yes.
taken action.
Okay, I'll
Everyone.
move to reappoint him.
I second that.
Whose appointment is that, for the record?
I believe
That's
that you
Commissioner
have.
That's Atkins, Commissioner Atkinson's appointment.
He got 2 appointments?
Yes.
Okay.
Looks like.
That's what you're telling me. He got 2 appointments, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is
Thank
there
you.
anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
Item 6, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2008-610-CU, an ordinance allowing a conditional use permit to sell on-premise alcohol for Lot 7 of Freeport subdivision located at 5850 FM 802.
Honorable Mayor and City Commission, we're holding another primary hearing on this case. It was approved at the City Commission last time, but concerns regarding an existing arcade in one of the stalls there, which is the middle stall. In this particular case, we, staff, and as well as Commissioner Triani, and also members of the Planning and Zoning Commission, called to review the case. So we would put an additional condition based that the arcade be left out. In this particular case, the arcade is in that middle section, but we colored in that all of the stalls in that building. In that building, on the corner of 802 there, you have a pocket where it says Express Communications has the pocket cellular phone, and then on the other side you do have the rehab center. And I think those are the only 2 existing businesses at the arcade.
Yes.
Yeah. So we colored that because those businesses are not. Would not have an alcohol serving.
But can you just done it very simply by saying a percentage of the total square footage could be?
Well, no, we were specific to the arcade.
I think the concern was that based on the permission that we had given Mr. Chacon, that theoretically, and I understand that he had no intention of doing this, but theoretically he could assign one of those liquor licenses to any business therein, which would include an arcade. And so he would actually have had the possibility of having a wet arcade, which is, I don't think, something that we're intending to promote at this point.
What's the Dave and Buster's?
I guess it becomes a question of what kind of arcade it is, doesn't it?
And basically, the condition of the Planning and Zoning Commission, which was approved by this commission, was that no more than 4 businesses fronting 802.
But you identified them very specific.
Yeah, the 4 on 802 plus the arcade.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anybody have any other comments?
I guess the only other question I have is, we're getting Mr. Chacon is going to give us something in writing indicating that he doesn't intend to put a wet arcade in there at this time, and if he were to do so, he'd have to come before either the Planning and Zoning and then the City Commission to consider that issue. Right?
That you could put that as a condition, Commissioner.
We'd like
tonight.
to.
But as it is right now, it is a moot issue as far as that's concerned, but you identified exactly where it's allowed, right?
Well, for that one, but you do want to...
My concern is in the future, if there's going to be a new build-out.
You do want to make it a blanket for the whole development, so you need to mention that.
Yes,
that
then
no
I would like
arcade.
that to be added, if we can have that as an amendment.
That arcade could move to another location.
This is not a
I
problem.
support
Okay,
Commissioner
all in favor?
Triani on that.
I'll move to close.
This is a public hearing. Anybody, any opposition from the neighborhood or anything? Any comments? No? Can I have a motion?
Move to
public
close.
hearing?
Move to close.
Second.
Motion closed by Commissioner Camarillo, second by Commissioner Triani. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve or disapprove
What are we approving exactly?
as specified by the planning director and the condition submitted by Commissioner Triani?
I'd like for you to read it.
Yes,
for me,
the
please.
conditions, Commissioner, were that no alcoholic businesses serving, alcohol serving businesses be fronting 802, which they see the school, and no arcade that sells alcohol.
Based on those conditions, can I have a motion approved?
That's
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Longoria,
Second.
second by Commissioner Camarillo. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 7, public comment period.
Okay, who do we have? Oh, here it is. First, Mr. Fernando Ruiz, then Alex Resendez, Robert Oresti, and then Ramon Perez. Same order. In that order.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. Today I would like to address the charter. I saw in the agenda something about the charter committee, and the reason that I'm here today is because I would like to review the changes that are going to be made or added to the new charter, and because I would like to make recommendations concerning the elimination of the districts and be all the positions in the commission at large. The reason I say this is because I have attended a lot of meetings like we have today, named some persons to the airport board and things like that, and I see that the persons making the recommendations, the question is, are these persons from your districts? Because this is what the district is about grassroots, Otherwise, if that's not going to be the case, well then, let's send them back to the original position and make all the positions at large. Because the idea is behind representation of a definite area, a certain coordinates. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that, and I'm not going to question you because I can't do it. Number two, I would like to congratulate the city for having the summit. It was a tremendous, very well organized. Of course, we had a little bit problem with the microphone, but the purpose was there, and I was very happy with all the persons with their inputs and things like that. And we do have to think in a regional way that what you're bringing up is very commendable, and I want to congratulate all of you on that matter. I would also like to touch the point here of and to congratulate our chief, Mr. Garcia, and his staff, and all the police department for being recognized by the governor of the state of Texas. So we have a good man working for us here, and we have to back him up whenever he needs it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have then Resendez.
No se oye.
It's on.
Buenas tardes. My name is Alex Resendez. I cannot name names, but somebody, one of your commissioners says to the man with the camera, the young man, he says, people have to go see the park. They gotta go see the sports park. Okay? I was talking to a man, okay, I'm gonna mention his name, Roberto Sanchez. He said, why don't you go see it, Alex? Go see it. See if I'm right or wrong. I went with my family. Beautiful park. Beautiful park. Bonitas calles. Muchas luces, many lights. But I think you all haven't finished that park.
Half done.
I was asking a question because I don't know, I haven't checked it. I haven't checked the tabulation on the monies, el dinero que se gastó. 27 millones, $27 million. The lights are beautiful, the streets are beautiful. But I saw a lot of sand dunes, actually not even sand, dirt. So when it rains, I'm not here complaining. I'm here because I like you guys, I like what you all are doing, and somebody has to say what they think and what people say. Hablé con unas personas, me dijeron, go see it, Alex. I went to see it. Hay mucha tierra, muy bonita. Los kids are out on the bicycles. Pero esa tierra When it rains, it will be mud. And the kids are going to be in the bicycle in the mud. That's one. Another one, I did not see no grass nowhere. I don't know why you all didn't plant no grass. Another one, nomás había un lugar, just one place where people can have shade, donde la gente puede tener sombra. Okay? The park is a very big park. A lot of kids go there, a lot of old people go there, and they sit on the bleachers or they sit somewhere, pero they're going to be burning when it's fall, especially in July. The old people, the kids can stand the sun maybe. So those are three things that I'm concerned. El techo, the roof, no roofing at all. Un poquito nomás había one roof. I also saw some kids doing some bad stuff, and I stopped them. There were young kids smoking. I don't know if you all have security. I don't know if you all have anybody watching what's going on. And that's all I gotta say. May God bless you all, and it's a beautiful park. Don't get me wrong. It's a big area, and $27 million is a lot of money. I hope you all put all the money in there because something's missing. Lord bless you all.
Thank you. Mr. Oresti.
I got the second.
Roberto Ureste, 1220 Calle Pluton, Galaxy Subdivision. I'm here because Brownsville has grown so big, yet the infrastructure, especially on the road systems. Now, you said that the TxDOT came down here. My concern as a citizen is that Brownsville seems to have a lack of roads from east to west or west to east. I think everybody knows that every morning, every noontime, and especially right now, the bottlenecks between Boca Chica going east or west, 802 east to west, Alton Glore east to west. I don't count Elizabeth Street because it goes into the old military highway and goes back into Boca Chica. So actually Brownsville has only 3 major corridors in order to travel from east to west. The concern to me has been the Morris Road project that has been stalled for such a long time. Why has it stalled? Well, I found out through a police officer who told me something about the railroad not letting another exit to cross into that. What is the problem? They said they have to close another roadway in order to open that one. It's kind of hard to understand why the city of Brownsville and all of you gentlemen have been here more than 4 years and have done nothing to push this across.
Money.
We need to push this road across.
We cannot respond. It goes against the rules.
Transparency of this government is not here. That's why we come here as citizens and question this in order for you to start thinking. Last time I came here, we were told that they're going to write our names down. That's not appropriate. You know my phone number. You know where I live. It's quite simple. A lot of you get mad at me. Why? Get after me if you want to, but that's being childish. We need to bring the road system up to par. I believe in the quality of life. The sports park, great. But what about the rest of the quality of life for the citizens of Brownsville? If you ask them, they're not happy the way things have been going on. And I hope you gentlemen, if you get another 4 years, what's going to happen? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oresti.
I have a question real quick.
No.
Stella.
Please, wait. No order.
Okay.
Let's go on to the next one. This is
Hold
public
on,
comment time.
I'd like
Ramon Perez.
I'd like to be heard real
Ramon
quick.
Perez. Ramon Perez, you next.
This is Stella. On the ordinance, it does say we can engage in
In
minimal.
a very brief response, perhaps refer the person to the department that can answer the question,
Exactly.
but not to engage in lengthy discussion
Exactly.
or explanation of a.
Exactly. I just want to enlighten the mayor on what we can do and what we
As the
can't
presiding officer,
do.
you have to be recognized to speak. You
Well-
don't want to lose control of the meeting by getting into a discussion. There's no point in it.
But I'd like to answer
There's
his
no point in
question.
it.
He has a
I
question.
make a motion that Commissioner Atkinson be allowed to speak.
Excuse me, if I may. The public comment section is designed for the public to make a comment. Commissioner, there is a item that you all had on the agenda last time about responses. This is, the Open Meetings Act would not permit a dialogue between you and the person who made the comment.
No, I'm not going to
It's
talk
not
to
on
him,
the
though.
agenda.
I'm not talking to him, though, John.
Well,
Let the chair conduct it.
You're not on the agenda to address the issue, Commissioner. That's the point.
But in our ordinance, it says we can engage in minimal.
the-
Why are you going against that now? Did you read
It doesn't
it?
have to do with the ordinance.
Did
Has to
you
do with
read it?
State law. Has to do with state law, sir.
Well, that's why it's written down in our ordinance, that we can engage not the person, but we can get like Charlie Kabler. Charlie Kabler knows what's going on with Morrison. He could provide, it's all about funding and
Yeah, but it has-
TxDOT.
but it has to be
Why
on
can't
the-
we answer his question now, not till next week?
Commissioner, it has to be on the agenda, and it's not on the agenda.
But it's in our ordinance.
Commissioner, in order to have an orderly meeting, okay, just allow the people that have something to say, whether you agree with them or disagree with them, they can always go to the manager anytime before they come to the meeting, after the meeting, if they wish. If they don't wish to, you don't have to agree. It doesn't mean that what they say is true or not true. We're not here to debate that. We're not here to engage in that. Let them have their say and move on. Because if we start allowing you or allowing him, it's not going to end. Everybody's going to want to talk, and you're going to lose control, and then people will get upset, and there's no order. The idea here is to have a chairman
I think
who addresses and controls the meeting, okay, with your help, and let me control the meeting. That's why I'm here.
It's in our ordinance, though.
All I can do is advise you on the Open Meetings Act. This is not listed as an agenda item, so you shouldn't be engaged in a discussion of it. And beyond that, you all do what you all are going to do.
John,
Why don't we just go on
if I
with
may,
Mr. Pettis?
let's just
here?
keep
What do
going.
you say?
If I may,
Nobody's, according to Robert's
from now
rules,
on,
you're
just put it
supposed
on
to be
every agenda,
recognized.
so you have
Supposed to be
commissioners reply
recognized.
to public. That item should have been put on this agenda to allow commissioners, like that commissioner says, to allow them to speak.
I need to speak with you about that, Commissioner.
See, this is what happens. You have no order and you have no respect. You're not going to follow the rules, even though you want it, you implement the rules. The rules do not apply to each of you. It seems like you need to understand. We have to follow the rules and conduct an orderly meeting. Okay, Mr. Perez, please have your say so. Next 3 minutes. It's all yours.
Actually, I was planning to come over here and talk to you again for the third time in 3 consecutive meetings, and hopefully y'all can hear me, and hoping that this city commission would be moved towards transparency as far as having campaign finance reports put on your city website. I've had the opportunity to come here January 6th and January 20th, and this is now February 2nd. I've asked you all, not only in the last meeting, to put an amendment to an item that Commissioner, well, I won't say their names, I don't want to violate the ordinance, 2 commissioners put on the agenda, you all passed unanimously, to put the budget, the city budget, on the website. This third time, and unfortunately, in January 6th minutes that you all approved, there was no mention of me coming up here to ask you all to do that. The last meeting, as well, there was no mention of me asking you all to do as an amendment. And so I took it upon myself to look at a couple of those 2 packet minutes that you all approved. There was an item in January 6th in which one of the commissioners who was in chair of the meeting, because our mayor wasn't here, there was no mention of this individual voting on a particular issue that had to do with the World's Gym's move to go to a bar, and there was no abstention, no nay, no yay. And I noticed also in that meeting that the explanation of what I was coming up here wasn't just about Time Warner, but it was for you all to be transparent, something that several of you have ran on in the last campaign. And so I'm a student of history. I know one of the commissioners is a student of history as well. We had courses together and graduated virtually 1 or 2 semesters apart. These minutes are very important because they are for for posterity's sake. Videos will always be here, but historians tend to look at minutes to figure out what happened at a meeting. And if the minutes are not going to accurately reflect what's happening at the meeting, then what's the point of having minutes? I also noted in the minutes that you just approved earlier, item 2A from last meeting, which I appreciate you all not putting on the agenda. And again, I will reiterate that if you look at John Cornyn's opinion 169 that's dated in 2000, it will give two commissioners what they want to hear, which is you can tell a particular person and city staff to direct them to this instance. You can state fact. You can do all of the things you want to do, even though your council is saying that. And unfortunately, in the minutes you approved this week, item 2A, it only shows that one commissioner mentioned that we do not comment or engage in the discussion. What it implies is, though, that you all are restrained, that you all don't really want to comment, but you do want to, and I can tell that this commissioner wants to. It's that you can't because your council is telling you you cannot do it. So there needs to be a reflection in the minutes that says that we cannot do it as per what the council is saying, and unfortunately the minutes don't reflect that, and you just approved it. I did the homework on those minutes, and I know one commissioner in that exact item said, we need to do our homework because before we come here, because you sit in for 10 hours and do the homework. I did, unfortunately you all didn't. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Pettis. Okay, next item.
Item 8, consideration and action on resolution number 2009-005 regarding approval of the issuance of Clifton Higher Education Finance Corporation Education and Revenue and Refunding Bonds, Series 2009A, to finance and refinance the cost of educational facilities for Tejano Center for Community Concerns Incorporated, located and to be located in the city of Brownsville, and with respect to a public hearing.
Just briefly, what we're being asked, what you all are being asked to do is approve the issuance of some bonds that, through a quirk in the Internal Revenue Code, you all need to approve so they will be tax exempt to the issuer, but the city will have no liability on the bonds whatsoever. I did talk with Tom Spurgeon, who is the City of Brownsville's bond counsel, and he told me that is absolutely correct, that in order for these bonds to be tax exempt, you all have to bless the bonds, but they'll be issued privately, and there will be no obligation on the part of the city to pay any interest or principal on the bonds. With that background, let me introduce to you Ms. Wendy Rodriguez from Vincent & Elkins, who is here to make a more detailed presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here with you all this evening. We're here simply to request approval for private activity bonds that are going to be used in the city of Bronzeville. You may or may not be aware, but I'll just give a recap. Private activity bonds are tax-exempt bonds that are issued on behalf of non-governmental entities. Because they're being issued on behalf of non-governmental entities, state law requires that the public be made aware that these funds are being used. And for the public to be made aware that the funds are being used, there's a publication of notice, there's a public hearing, and there's public approval. The publication of notice was made in the Bronzeville Herald on Monday, January 19, 2009. There was a public hearing held today at 1 o'clock, and that public hearing allows the public to make any comment they want to for or against these bonds. At the hearing, there was no public comment made, and the public approval comes from the applicable elected representative or the governmental unit that has jurisdiction over where the money is to be used. So therefore, because the money is going to be used in Bronzeville, the City Commission gives the public approval, the final public approval, in this public hearing and public awareness procedure. So, as Mr. Chosey stated, there is going to be no liability to the city or to its residents. There's no indebtedness, no obligation with respect to the bond. You're just simply approving that you're acknowledging that there was a public hearing held, public notice, and that the money is going to be used in your jurisdiction. And I neglected to mention I have 3 guests that have joined me tonight. I'm sure you recognize them. It's Rene Martinez from Raúl Seguida School, Mr. Raúl Seguida Jr., and Mr. Domingo Gonzalez, all affiliated with the school.
Do y'all have other schools anywhere else?
There is a campus in Houston as well.
It's a school, or is it like a...
They're charter schools. It's a charter school with 2 campuses, one in Bronzeville, one in Houston.
So the funds are going to be used here in Bronzeville?
There's funds that are going to be used in Houston, and there's funds that are going to be used in Bronzeville. We come to you in the Bronzeville City Commission simply for approval of the Bronzeville portion. The funds in Bronzeville are going to be basically the refinancing of 2 loans from Wells Fargo that were used in 2000 for updates and improvements to the school. And now they're just simply refinancing that portion here.
And so those funds are going to be used to upgrade the campus, the Bronzeville campus?
The upgrades were made, and if Mr. Martinez, you want to speak to the exact upgrades, but the money was used for the upgrades, and now they're simply refinancing that
Refinance.
money.
And what amount is that? What amount is that?
The total amount was about $9.4 million. I'm sorry, $936,000.
Okay. So just to be sure, and because I know we received this, establishing your legacy, this is not what we're getting in Bronzeville, correct?
Mayor and City Commissioners, I'm the Director of Resource Development with the Tejano Center for Community Concerns in Houston and the Raul Isqueti School for Success. It's an open enrollment charter school. We were one of the first of 20 charter schools granted approval here in the state of Texas. I speak to you with respect to Brownsville, but I think it would be helpful to talk about Houston as well. We're in the midst of a very significant capital expansion in Houston. The charter school was formed back in 1996, and the majority of the tax-exempt bond proceeds will be used for financing those improvements and refinancing existing bond debt in Houston. In addition to that, we formed the Raul Isqueti School for Success here in Brownsville in 2003. And with that, we had 2 bank notes from Wells Fargo. And what we plan to do is refinance that existing debt. There's also some CDs that are collateralizing those existing bank loans. And so with that, we will be refinancing that debt. We were also in the process this year of looking at some master planning in Brownsville as well, because we are looking at what we can do in terms of some renovations as well as an expansion there at some point. The packages that you have in front of you are our organization's information. There's a fact sheet in there, and it talks about the various programs and business lines that we have in Houston. We're a community development corporation that and we're one of the most successful corporations in Houston. We do affordable housing. We have a senior housing project. We have a youth shelter and a child placing agency. And then we also have a charter school. So that information, and there's also some newsletters in there as well.
So I'm sorry. So again, this is not prior. This is
correct. That is what we're doing in Houston.
Is there? And you did mention, and again, I just want to go on record. I just want to go on record saying that, and you talked about some master planning. I know this. I guess I just want to make it real clear that I hope at one point in time we'd be able to see something similar like that here in Brownsville. I know Houston has a lot of development. They have a lot of things going for them. I think it's important that the youth here in Mr. Isqueti's charter school have almost the same or comparable to the facilities that they have over there. I'd like to see us do that master plan at one point, build, if not similar, close to what they have. That's just what I feel. But again, I support the project. Education is the key to success, but it's the key to lifting every neighborhood from where it's at. I'd just like to see if we could do some master planning to see something similar of that facility here in Brownsville. I think that'd be great.
Okay.
So nothing.
City Manager, you've looked at this. Staff's looked at this.
No, our city attorney looked at this and put it.
Attorney, you looked at this and you find everything to be.
Yeah, everything's in order, Mayor. Yeah.
And
what this would do would be to permit them to issue their own bonds at a tax exempt rate.
It would not put the city at risk.
No, and I checked with our bond counsel, who's quite familiar with these, and he said the city's not at risk at all. It's just a quirk in the code. The city commission has to.
Based on that, can I have a motion?
I have a question. Does this open the door for other charters like the IDEA to come and ask for taxes and bonds?
Yeah, they can all come in. In fact, I'm told that you all did it before with St. Joseph Academy, but the other charter schools, I'm sure they're.
It's the same thing the Valley Region want to do here.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And do you have a school in Brownsville?
Yes,
Where
we
is
do.
that?
And I wanted to assure the commission that we're working on a master plan for Brownsville. We're going to expand all the way to 12th grade and eventually have dual enrollment classes with the University of Texas Brownsville.
Well, let me know. I'll help you out. Thank you.
And we want your help. Thank you very
The good
much.
thing about these charter schools is that their dropout rate is far less and their success rate's very high.
The small is beautiful concept works.
We should encourage and welcome.
It's a burden financially because we don't have the resources that a school district has, but charter schools are public schools designed with a smaller classroom size, more teachers for numbers of kids, and it places a burden on the nonprofits that sponsor them, but we're doing our best. We're doing very well in Brownsville, and we will expand. We will keep you up to date as we develop our master plan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Just for the record, sir.
Yes, sir.
Where did you have this public hearing today?
At 1 o'clock at the school.
Where? At
On
school?
Wild Rose Lane.
On Wild Rose Lane? Did you have a good turnout?
There was
Nobody showed.
no
Nobody
public-
showed up?
No one showed up from the public.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Camarillo, second by Commissioner Troyani. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you all.
I think you do a good job. Thank you very much. Thank you.
luck.
Next item, please.
Item number 9, consideration and action on resolution number 2009-007 in support of the University of Texas Medical Branch of Galveston for its efforts to continue operating as a full-fledged medical school.
Mayor, I created this resolution for the mere fact that during this past hurricane season, UTMB Medical School in Galveston is a teaching hospital, but it's also a hospital where a lot of our Bronzeville residents and Valley people go up there for either no-cost medical assistance and or at a reduced cost. When the hurricane hit Galveston, it's put the city in a major situation. More so, it hurt the medical school. What it did, they lost around 3,000 plus positions. Therefore, UT System, which oversees all UT flagships, was considering reducing services to UTMB because the cost has been so outrageously high to fix the facility, but also to help maintain services. So therefore, this resolution is in support of UTMB Medical School to continue to keep its doors open, 1, but 2, not to limit the services that it does for area residents in Bronzeville, but the Valley and across the state of Texas. And therefore, I'd ask the Commission to support it, and appreciate Commissioner Troyani sponsoring this with me.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Longoria, second by Commissioner
Got a second.
Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item 10, consideration and action on resolution number 2009-008, rejecting the development and construction of a tolled road highway from Olmito to and concluding at Old Brownsville Matamoros Bridge.
Mayor, this is another resolution I wrote with the assistance of a few others. Basically, as the commission was introduced a couple of months prior by Dr. Berg and the West Side Association, there are plans to build this proposed toll road concept highway in Bronzeville. The resolution basically says that the city of Bronzeville does not want to see a toll road in this community. 2, that when the West Loop and the West Rail project take place, if that property is deemed to be the city of Bronzeville's, that we get that property back. And 3, any future construction or planning or ideas for that area where the tracks once laid be brought back to the commission, but as well as involve the people of the area that they'll be affected by. I don't think that's happened by any means. There's only been discussions, but for the most part, I think it's to the interest of the city, most importantly the residents in that area, that they too have a part in what happens, and that our mindset is not solely on increasing lanes, increasing more highways, but start thinking a little bit differently through smart growth, and again, plan for the future, but involve residents and people that have something to say. So with that, I'd ask the commissioners for the support, and I'd also like to acknowledge any residents that are here in support of this resolution to please stand up. I really do appreciate y'all taking the time to come on such short notice.
Okay, I think everybody at the
And Commissioner
MPO
Cisneros did help me co-sponsor this. I really do appreciate him helping with this.
I think everybody at the MPO and RMA are against the toll road concept here, but I think you're encroaching in their domain as far as allowing them to work with the state. With
approve. Second.
You need to let me recognize you, and I have the right to speak.
Motion.
Okay, I need to ask for the motion. So I'm cautioning you that there's a process for all this, and the process is that the MPO and the RMA to do this here without taking them to account is unfair to them. It also could hurt them in their work if they're trying to get things done.
May
Allow me, please, Commissioner Camarillo, and I'll recognize you right afterwards if you'll allow me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think everybody's of the same consensus. We opposed it. We've said it publicly. We don't want toll roads. But there's a lot of things that are happening that we need to work with the state, and we need to let those representatives make that known, because that's who they're there. They're there to represent you and everybody else through the MPO and the RMA. Based on that, Commissioner.
Mayor, through the resolution, I want to make it very, very clear to our state senator, Eddie Lucio, our representatives, Eddie Lucio III, and our representative, Mr. Oliveira, that City of Brownsville is working to the best interest of the residents of not only District 4, but District 3 and possibly District 2. When it comes to say that we don't believe a toll road should be here, we believe that planning should be encouraged not only based on the city, because we believe that property may be rented to the city, but also involve the public and the people that it will affect greatly. And so I understand that by doing this, some people may be at odds with me at the county or in other entities, but this is just being done for the best interest of the people, I think, of Brownsville. Texas Monthly, for example, came out with an issue on toll roads in Texas, and their data concludes that toll roads in Texas is a big mess, and it's not the best way to fund a project. And I think we need to learn from that. I think we need to understand that what may work or doesn't work in Dallas, we need to be sure that doesn't happen in Brownsville. So with that, again, I understand I'm making some people uneasy, but it's just because I believe that this is not the direction that we need to go, and hopefully we can work towards a compromise on this project.
May I have the floor? I want to voice my support for Commissioner Camarillo, and I want to voice my support for the people of West Brownsville on this issue. And I'd like to ask Commissioner Camarillo to consider amending the resolution slightly to make a comment that we would like the CMRMA and the county to consider focusing on the East Loop project and acknowledging acknowledging the benefit that the railroad served for so many years, and that we would like to also see that property used for the benefit of West Brownsville and the community in the future, and to continue to do so. So if we could include that in the resolution, I think that would send the right message that the mayor is probably looking for here, and at the same time show that we don't support a toll road at that location, but if they wanted to consider a toll road at another location further out to the west, considering land usage, etc., we'd be in a better position, because obviously the way it is now, it's simply run parallel to 77, and that's something that I think everybody in the audience would agree, and a lot of people at home as well, that it might not be the best use for those funds when we could use the funds to support the infrastructure on the east side of town, and that could hook into the port and some of these other locations where we could really use that type of infrastructure to increase truck traffic. Thank you.
Commissioner, I agree, and I would accept everything.
Would you mind being recognized first?
May I be recognized?
Okay.
I would agree and accept everything.
Let me recognize you first. Then you can speak, okay? And let me say this, as the chairman of the NPO, being involved in the RMA, the East Loop has a priority. The West Loop is not even in the running for a toll road. It's not even being considered at this point, okay? But to circumvent the NPO and the RMA, I think in the future we could hurt ourselves. Nobody is supporting a toll road, and even if we were supporting a toll road, the state has an obligation to build an alternative where citizens can drive without having to pay a toll. It can't hold you hostage to that road to where that's the only mode of getting there without providing an alternative order, okay, that the public can use without paying a toll. All I'm saying is that the future, we don't know where it's going to take place. And people in TxDOT, the engineers that are working on our behalf to make sure that we don't have bottleneck congestion in the west side. And they may come up with alternative areas to build a road. Whether it'll be a toll or not, I don't know at this point. It could be 20 years down the road. All I'm saying is we should work with a process which calls for the MPO and the RMA, and to this point, I'm saying nobody's supporting a toll road. Everybody's been against it, and the priority is the East Loop, it's not the West Loop. I just don't think we should be circumventing it. That's all. Based on that,
Mayor, if I just
want to do what you want to do.
So I may have the floor, Mayor.
And I support the West Brownsville. I do not support.
May I have the floor, Mayor?
You have the floor.
I will just say this, that I refuse to stay stuck in one place. If you wish not to support it, since I brought it up, that's fine. Please, your vote is your vote. At the end of the day, I agree with what I understand with what you're saying. I think the city needs to stand and say, this is what we believe is to be correct, and I believe in my heart that it is right. It is the right thing to do. I don't think we're stepping on anyone's toes. I think there's a new direction that the group needs to look at and consider. Going back to what I was going to mention to Commissioner Troiani, Commissioner, I do agree with everything you said. The only thing that I would exclude from that would be the tool. Okay, I think that really needs to be looked at and researched even greatly.
That's fine.
But I support everything
Fine.
you mentioned. I want to accept that as part of the resolution.
I like that.
Commissioner Atkinson?
I like that on that. I sit on that RMA too, and I'll be honest with you, I don't go to some of the meetings anymore because it's just, to me, it stagnates, and we're at the will of higher ups that. I mean, our efforts, you talk about bottlenecks, Morrison Road. Textile is supposed to help us fund that road, and it's not. They're saying, no, we're doing away with it. How can you say no to Morrison Road where it's a major...
That's not true.
Yeah, no, yes, it is true. Yes,
Sorry?
it is true.
Go ahead.
And we need TxDOT to be more involved with our city. Our city's trying to come up with funds to help TxDOT pave that road. But they've already told us straight out that, hey, we're willing to help, but not till way later on. It's not a priority. We got to make it a priority. This toll road idea was a waste of time. And I support Commissioner Camarillo and his efforts, and I think we all feel the same way, besides one, which doesn't surprise me. But I think we should stand.
That's not fair, Commissioner.
I think we should stand with.
I'm just voicing my opinion. Hey, wait a second. I'm just voicing my opinion. Go ahead.
And I support you and what you're doing, and you have all my help, whatever you need.
Thank you,
May
Commissioner.
I be recognized, Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Garza?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I support you too, Commissioner Camarillo. And, it's true. TxDOT dropped the ball. They had promised us some monies, and then said, we don't have it. We spent it someplace else. And I believe we have about $5 million. Is that correct, Mr. Kabler?
The $5 million we have, Commissioner, is a bond that we borrowed for the purpose of trying to accelerate the project. But it's not enough to fund the whole total sum of Morrison Road.
And as far as the crossing is concerned, which was brought up earlier by Mr. Oresti, I believe we have agreed to close 3 crossings so we can open up Morrison Road crossing. Am I correct?
That's not the issue, Commissioner.
Well, I know, but I just in response to Mr. Oresti's
the agreement we made with the railroad was that we closed 3 crossings within the county, and they would open up.
So we have been working on this Morrison Road project for some time, Mr. Oresti. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And let me clarify something, which is good that you reminded me. Morrison Road's a good example of what things happen and you don't know what's going to, things change because of circumstances, whatever. And City Manager could probably attest to this. Due to the Morrison Road is a good example. Legislation was passed, okay, that would allow TxDOT to fund West Morrison Road, okay, and because that legislation, people bought land over there which prohibited the opening up to build Morrison Road. Now we need to get legislation to change and just change one word, and that would require Solomon Ortiz, our congressman. Instead of saying West Morrison, to say East Morrison. That way TxDOT can fund and build East Morrison Road as we want it. It's not that TxDOT does not want to fund it. It's not that TxDOT does not want to do it. It's just circumstances the way they are today. And they need to be clarified, and it requires legislation. So based on that, there's a lot of misconceptions, and people jump to conclusions, and they reach, which is all wrong, okay? The railroad is a good example of the future that we're living now. 20 years, 25 years ago, we talked about relocating. If we had passed a resolution like we're doing now with this one right here, perhaps the relocation over there by River Bend wouldn't be possible today. So I think by circumventing the entities that are in charge of these kind of projects, I think it can only hurt us possibly. I'm not saying it will. It can only hurt us in the future and really affect us. Because at this point, to me, this is is moot, because nobody's proposing a toll road. Nobody's moving that, and the West Loop is not
Yes, you
even
haven't heard a
considered.
single thing.
Okay, based on that.
Can I have the floor?
Yeah, I guess you just
based
haven't
on
heard
that,
a
if you'd
single
like to
thing.
vote-
Can I have the floor?
Yes.
Move to approve.
No, I just want to make a motion. I understand what you're saying, Mayor, but we are the local representatives and we represent the people
That's
here in
fine.
Bronzeville. And we do have to work with TxDOT, but TxDOT absolutely has to work with us. And I commend Commissioner Camarillo because he's been in tune with people from the west side. I've gone to some of these meetings and they met with me as well. And we have to stand up for what our residents want. And he's been at these meetings and conducting these meetings. And the reason he took the lead on this is because this is what the community is asking for. So I fully support him. And I think that, TxDOT, they need to work with us as well. So it's not just us working with them. They need to work with us as well.
And to imply that TxDOT is not fair, and to imply that nobody's representing West Brownsville at MPO, that's not fair, because I have, as mayor and MPO chairman, and everybody there is in agreement, no toll road. Nobody's even asking for that or supporting that. So don't leave here thinking that this is your voice only. You have a voice at the MPO and RMA, and it has been expressed.
Mayor, well, now you have a resolution to go and back you when you go to MPO. So with that, I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion.
We have a motion and a second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Terriani.
No. Second.
With
That's fine.
amendments?
I think it was Commissioner Camarillo made the motion. I seconded it.
By Commissioner
With the amendments.
Camarillo, second by Commissioner Terriani. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion. I oppose.
Stella, there was one opposition to it.
Okay, next item.
Item 11, consideration and action regarding amendment to an interlocal agreement with Cameron County for collection of a past due ad valorem taxes.
Mayor, members of the commission, some time ago you authorized staff to go out and solicit proposals for collecting past due taxes due to the city of Brownsville. But in order to do that, or in order to hire someone to collect past due taxes, it's my opinion that we need to amend Article 13 of the interlocal agreement between the city and the county. I distributed, it should have been in each of your places, a copy of Resolution 2009-006, basically adding a Section 4 through Article 13 that permits the city on 90 days written notice to designate its own law firm to collect delinquent taxes for the city of Brownsville. Whatever this law firm might collect would be turned over to the Cameron County Tax Assessor Collector to be processed as normal. If you have any questions, I'll do what I can to answer them. But
any questions? No
by the way,
questions?
this would not become effective until the Commissioners Court also approved it.
Motion approved. Second.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item 12, consideration and action to acknowledge the Finance Director's financial statements and cash investment report for the City of Brownsville for the first quarter ending December 31st, 2008.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, right in front of you, you have the financial report for the first quarter of the year, and this particular report has a memo from me to the city manager regarding the financial condition of the city for the first quarter. And if I may, I'd like to go over the first 3 paragraphs on page 1 of the memo, so you can more or less know what has taken place the last few years in regards to the new financial system that the city just set up a few years ago. We used to have the old system, which was around 25 years ago, and of course technology has changed since then. We had purchased software that included the software for the finances as well as the payroll. During this period, the software company that we had purchased the software from went bankrupt, and what we did, we went ahead and purchased what we call the source code. And the source code allowed us to make any changes to the software. And we had been using this software for all these years, but lately we found out that a few years ago that that we were using HP equipment, and HP equipment became obsolete. We were actually buying some parts for the particular hardware. Anyway, so what we did, we went ahead and in 2006, we went ahead and went out and looked for more software and equipment for the new software, because we were afraid if we did not make this change, we would be in a position where we would not be producing reports because of our systems was very old. We began the process in 2006. We finally decided on a company out of Michigan, Troy, Michigan, and we awarded the contract to New World. New World gave us a good finance package that it not only includes the financials, but it also includes the purchasing, the fixed assets. So we've already implemented the first module, and it took us a long time to implement this first phase, because what we did is we went ahead and captured 10 years history from the old system into the new system. As a result, we took about almost a year to get everything going. And that's the reason why it's taken this time, because we wanted to make sure that all the data that we had from the old system was going to be captured by the new system. Along that, we went ahead and had to open up all new accounts, new chart of accounts. And again, that takes time. We've seen stories from other cities that when they change softwares, they go through some hard pains. As a matter of fact, there was a report not too long ago about City of Fort Worth. City of Fort Worth changed the system, but they could not produce financial reports or audit reports because they were not keeping up to the currently on their financials. So as a result, they were in very bad shape. We took the right course. We took our time. We made planning. We put all the plans together. We put in a lot of overtime to get the system going. We had a few glitches along the way. All those have been taken care of. We just implemented what we call the payroll system. And also we took some time there because we're trying to capture some of the old data into the new payroll system, and it's working well. The good thing about the system that we have with New World, it is that we can actually go in. It's web-based, what we call web-based. I can go home and I can actually work with a server and actually do all the financial reports at home by taking our laptop. And it's that wonderful about the system. Anyway, that's about it for what I want to talk about the new system. But it takes a while. It's not from one day to the next to implement certain systems. Just to let you know what it takes.
That's great, Pete. Pete, that's real good to hear that you could do work from home. I think when you use the technology to the fullest extent, we can be much more efficient, and that's ideal. That's great.
This particular report, I got the wrong one. That's okay. I'm going to ask you to go with the PowerPoint. That's the wrong one. Are you ready for but you need to look at this. Forget about the overhead.
Okay.
Now disregard that. Okay. Let's go over the handout, the PowerPoint handout, which is this. Looking at the first, and I'm looking on page 2 of the PowerPoint handout. Some of the financial concerns that we see on the first quarter. We have declines in the Veterans Bridge revenues. We're about 40% below what we were collecting last year in Veterans Bridge revenues. We've also started to see a decline in sales tax. We're right down 1.5%. Of course, we also see the rise in medical insurance until we do some changes to the plan that we've talked about. But those plans have not been made, so therefore our costs are higher. And we also see an increase in our retirement in future years. On page 3,
Wait a second, Pete. This was pointed out during the budget process, this was going to happen.
right.
I pointed this out very clearly over and over again.
So anyway, that's what we are right now. On page 3, it shows you a comparison of the, when we prepare the budget, we always try to be very conservative. And as you can see on the first column there on page 3, it shows that the fund balance for 2008 is around 12.3 million. Right now we have unofficial totals of about 17.7. 2008 we did okay. We don't see that happening in 2009. 2009 estimated fund balance around 11 million. Page 4, it shows the general fund between fiscal year 2007 and 2008 for the first 3 months of the year. And as you can see, the fund balances are less at the very bottom, 22.5 million versus 20.8 million. So you can see a drop already in 2009. On page 5 of the handout, this is the general fund, estimated fund balance of 11.3 million. On page 6 shows the activity for the general fund this year. We see 25,187,196 in revenues, expenses of 22,97,288. And the reason why we see more revenues than expenses right now, because we've already collected about 66% of ad valorem taxes. We have a 3% discount for those people that pay in October, 2% in December, and then 1% in October, November, December. October is 3, November is 2, December is 1 discounts. So you see a lot of people paying up front at the very beginning. That's the reason why our revenue is a little bit higher than expenses. Page 7 shows the activity on sales tax, and as you can see right now we're at 1.5% less as far as last year, and we're running around 4.7% less as far as budget. Page 8. Well, this is a chart that we've covered before in the past that shows the sales tax revenues of 1982 to 1989, and that's just to make you aware that when we had some peso devaluations, our sales tax actually went down, and it took us about 6 years to recover. There was another peso devaluation way back in 94 on page 9, and again you see a decline in sales tax right after the 94 devaluation. We've gotten back to better years. Oh, we got it. Thank you. This shows obviously better years between 2003 and 2008, but we do see hopefully we won't see a drop in 2009, but we are starting the year with a decrease in 2009. Convention and Tourism Fund, I'm going to cover all the other funds now. We have a fund balance in the Convention and Tourism Fund of 544,605. Community development in and out, it's all federal money. Non-bonded debt, this is the fund that we pay lease purchases. We have 10,652 at the end of December. The debt service fund, we are scheduled to make a payment on February the 15th, so obviously that fund balance is going to go down. Right now we have 13,598,000, but there's a major payment coming up on this particular month on the 15th. Landfill tipping fee increase fund, that right now we're showing a balance of $66,005. Airport fund, this includes all the assets of the city. We do have more expenses than revenues. Keep in mind that at the airport in years past we've made a transfer from the general fund of $2 million. We did not include this in the budget this year with the understanding that we were going to sell some assets. A building is going to be sold and it's going to be picked up. That's going to take care of the $2 million, but we have to caution you, next year we're not going to have that we didn't have a $2 million transfer this year. We'll probably have a $2 million transfer for the airport next year. So obviously that comes from our fund balance.
What are we doing though to make sure they don't ask for these $2 million? What are they're doing a lot of projects out there.
Yeah, one of the things that we have at the airport, Commissioner, is that we do have a fire department, a station over there that every year that the increase in fire operations increase, and that's associated with some of the contracts that we have with the labor unions, with the fire department. And we have seen an increase throughout the years and that's one. And of course, we're trying to generate as much revenues as we can to take care of some of that slack in expenses. That's all I can tell you. Hopefully, we'll generate more revenues in the airport.
Are there things set in line as far as benchmarks to try to get the airport on board as far as finding ways to make revenue so we don't have to come back? It just seems like, we're going to have to give them $2 million. That's a given. They know that, so what's the incentive for them to not be coming back to the city for those $2 million? I mean, we were trying to bring another airline here, but what are we doing? It just seems, maybe I'm just talking.
We have cargo that's coming in. And
that's fine.
Once we get dual customs here, and it's hopefully by July or August, we'll have Mexican customs here. And that's going to increase the traffic, the cargo, international cargo. And then we have some other buildings that I know there were some people interested in leasing the Levi Strauss, the rest of the Levi Strauss building. That's one thing. And Larry, you're getting ready to. You wanted to say something?
Not really.
No, there's some other companies that are interested in coming to Brownsville once we clear the cattle corrals out there that we're going to move to the back, and those buildings are going to go down, and we're going to build hopefully new ones to bring in, accommodate some. You want to elaborate on that?
Sure. First of all, as you recall, in terms of projects that will generate additional revenue
Yes.
to the airport, consequently help offset the cost. First of all, the GBIC project is designed to build 2 new hangars, both revenue generating, neither of which the revenue is included in the budget, but it will be included in next year's budget. Second thing, we are currently reviewing, as we do periodically, the rates and charges that are charged by the airport for a list of about 27 different things, with the intention of adjusting those rates and charges so that they're more competitive, shall we say, which is basically increasing. More competitive, though, with other airports, but it also reflects additional revenue and the cost of operating the airport. That's being done right now with the target of coming before you all on March 17th with an adjustment to the rates and charges. In addition to that, we are pursuing now, and I believe as I mentioned at a previous meeting, a change in the cost associated with rental car parking spaces, going from $10 per month per space to $30 per month per space. All of those designed to generate additional revenue for the airport, as well as looking at, which is a major revenue generator, the potential for charging for parking at the airport, similar to what the other major airports in the valley do and other airports throughout the country. Those are all designed to generate additional revenue. Can't obviously guarantee that in 1 year we'll generate $2 million, but we're going to be making a dent in the additional revenue that the city needs. Okay? Those are just illustrations for you.
Larry, one quick question. Do most airports in the state of Texas run in the black?
Most of them run at a deficit.
In a deficit?
That's correct.
Comparable to ours or no? Or much larger?
Well, it depends upon the airport, where it's at, and so on and so forth. In our case, though, because of that significant change in terms of charging all the costs associated with the operation of the ARF station to the airport's budget, as Mr. Gonzalez pointed out, that adds significant revenue, significant cost, where there wasn't additional commensurate revenue to pick up that cost. I would also note to you, and I failed to mention this, in terms of building space available at the airport, the Levi's building, the former Levi's building, is actually half rented right now with an option on the other half. And in addition, the VF building is technically leased right now, but is in the process of going to closing to generate additional revenue to cover this year's budget by April 17th.
Thanks, Larry.
Okay.
Looking at the bridge fund.
It's a
major concern, Pete?
The bridge fund, for instance, this shows you a comparison between fiscal year 2007 and 2008, how the revenues are compared to those two periods. I've got the wrong one here. There we go. This is the right one. The 2008 and 2009, there's a decrease between fiscal year 2008 and 2009 of 36.78%. And our budget is around 40% down. Motor vehicle parking system fund, it's doing more or less about what we should be doing right now. Public transit, the same thing. It's so far the expenses for the quarter or the losses in this particular fund is almost $900,000. But we do get 50% of that comes from the FTA. And then the remain to balance the budget comes from various other sources. Listed at the very bottom, you have the state operating assistance grant, and then you have the general fund transfer to make up the difference. The golf center fund, not doing that well this year. Then we look at the insurance fund, and this is a fund that we need to somehow get a handle of by changing the plan. We definitely need to change the plan, because if we don't make the plan changes, it's going to continue to cost us more money. Right now we're at receipts or contributions to this fund of $2,428,000. We have expenses of $1,580,000, but we have to understand that not all the claims have been paid. So right now we do have receipts over expenses of $847,000. And then, of course, we need to also indicate to you the investments for the city. We also, besides invested money for the city, we also invest monies for the BCIC, the PID, and the GBIC, and that's a comparison of the fund balances or cash balances between the first quarter of 2008 and the first quarter of 2009 fiscal year. And that concludes my presentation.
One thing I want to point out, Pete, on your page 2 there, financial areas of concern, the property assessment taxes was not listed. I'm very concerned about that.
Right now, Mayor, the property taxes, we're doing okay as far as collections.
But I think they're going to be going down to where I think there's more foreclosures, there's less people going to be paying and stuff like that. You don't think so?
So we don't see that yet, Mayor, and I'll point that out on the book.
Okay, well, you're the expert.
On page, if you look on page 10.
Page 10?
Yes, of the book. And look at the column under percent of tax levy collected, 2009 versus the 2008. And as far as percentages, we've collected 66.67% in 2009 versus 65.67 in 2008. So right now we don't see any effect on as far as ad valorem taxes.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
Move to acknowledge it.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Trans, second by Commissioner Garza to adopt.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledge.
To acknowledge.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
And Estrada Hinojosa and Company.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, right now we do have a financial advisors contract with Estrada Hinojosa. They also handle investments for various cities, and all this is authorizing them to contract with us for investment services. We don't see their need right now because we do have a very good contract with our depository, First National Bank. Interest rates right now are very low. The pools are about a 1%, which is not very good. CDs are doing better. And what Estrada Hinojosa would do is they go statewide and search for any banks that offer better CD rates than that's what's being offered by the pools. But because the contract that we have with First National Bank actually offers better rates. So we're just having this contract just in case we need them.
Well, do you recommend this, Pete?
For them to surge and get better rates for us, yes. But like I said, right now I don't see we're going to need their services, because the contract that we have with First National Bank was unbelievable. We got a good contract. They're going to be paying. They pay us 2.6%.
Peter, so you're saying, so unless First National Bank doesn't give us a good deal, or it goes off, then we'd go to Hinojosa and Estrada.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I guess the question I have is, isn't it their duty? Well, question: is it their duty at this point to look for? Isn't it our duty to look for better rates if we can get them? And what are the terms of our contract, and how would we get out of this contract with them, with the bank?
Well, it would be on a 30-day contract, but we're not going to. Like I said, we're not going to be using them right now. We're not.
For the last couple of years, First National Bank has given us the best rates.
That's my point.
So there's no.
And I'm sure they're always constantly looking out. If they would have had something better, they would have brought it to our attention.
Right.
And I think they would if something comes up. They would use a clause.
Just to have them on board in case things change.
Right.
But
can I have a motion?
A motion to approve.
Second by Commissioner Goya.
Yeah, and they don't get paid if we don't use them, obviously.
We don't pay.
Well, I guess my question is: does the staff recommend this as a necessity at this point?
Not as a necessity, but as an option.
Yeah, it's an
First
option.
National Bank doesn't.
Do we need them right now? The answer is no. Do we would like to have the contract in place? It's okay.
Okay, we have a motion
Doesn't
to
hurt us.
approve
Doesn't
and a
hurt.
second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next
Item
item.
Item 14, consideration and action to accept a grant from the Texas State Library and Archives Commission's Lone Star Libraries Grant Program in the amount of $42,066 for decor and furnishings for the main library.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, the Browns Public Library System has received a grant from the Texas State Library for $42,000, which will be used for furnishings and decor items for the library system.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Goya, second by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Item 15, consideration and action to award a term contract for the purchase and delivery of traffic paint for the City of Brownsville's Traffic Department.
Honorable Mayor, City Commission, staff recommendation is to award a term contract for the purchase and delivery of traffic paint to be used by the Traffic Department to Sherwin-Williams, the low responsible bidder, at the prices that are on the agenda. The contract shall commence upon award by the City Commission and shall expire on January 2010. And there's an option to extend the contract for 2 additional years. Funding is in place.
Would approve. Motion approved by Commissioner Longoria. Second. Second by who?
Aye, second.
Second by Mr. Camarillo. Any questions? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And if I may, Estella, if you can go back on 13 and put me down as a nay.
13, you're a nay?
Yes, please.
13
Okay.
to nay.
Item 16, consideration and action to award a contract for a consultant to represent the City of Brownsville in Washington, D.C.
For the request made by City Commission on the meeting that was tabled back in December the 2nd, 2008, the following table that I present before you is for review and discussion.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yes, sir. Okay.
As you see on the table that it's before you, City Commission has for the following information: the expertise regarding transportation programs. That's one. Second, an update on the key staff or who was supposed to be the project manager or representing or be the consultant. And number 3, the proposed monthly cost. What you see on the table, we have the 4 highest ranked firms. Patton Boggs, they have more than 40 years of experience. Their office location is in Washington, D.C. Their proposed monthly fee is $9,000 monthly retainer. The expertise regarding transportation, as you see on the table, says that they serve as a registered lobbyist for more than 300 government, corporate, universities, trade associations, and nonprofit entities. On the references, they describe some cities, some large urban counties, and also at the bottom you can see on the third paragraph, they say that they currently represent VIA, the Metropolitan Transit, since 2001, and then the key staff is listed on the part right.
Where's staff represented?
Well, we were asked to bring this information before the City Commission for review and also for discussion.
I understand the staff had a specific recommendation.
The initial recommendation was Myers.
The initial recommendation was Myers, yes.
Okay, then is there a dispute between staff as far as who the recommendation was? Because I heard that there was another person who was recommended by staff.
Well, if you look at this table, based on the information that was required, as you see, there's different based on the representation. I mean the references and the expertise regarding transportation programs. You'll see that the first 2 companies, the first 2 firms on the table, Patton Boggs and Moore Montgomery and O'Donnell, they have on the information that was submitted. I'm sorry?
They're pretty much blue chip firms.
Yes. And then if you see on the second page, you have the companies Myers and Associates and Dobbs Logistics. They do have, if we go to the second page, okay, as you see on the second page, under expertise regarding transportation programs, they mention the fact that they are working with the Safe, Accountable, Flexible, and Efficient Transportation Equity Act. Okay.
Okay, but on the top it says here, it says Myers and Associates, and it says, I assume that means no mention of transit-related work in the column, and that's the same thing with those logistics. It says no mention of transit-related work, or it says not mention of transit-related work.
That was something that was reviewed on their submittals when we asked for information in regards to their expertise regarding transportation programs. What you see in here, that's what they submitted.
Okay, so neither Myers and Associates or Dos Logistics mention anything about transportation-related work, and that's one of the things that y'all have put in your packet for lobbying is
that
transportation.
Is correct. That is
primary.
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 That's what we asked for.
Okay.
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
Last year when we went up there, and we had a firm, I guess it was a PUB.
It was Myers.
Was it Myers?
Myers and Associates.
We didn't get anywhere with them. And I felt it was a waste of time being up there with them. We met with staffers in the lobby. We didn't even get to see John Cornyn. We didn't get to see a lot of these senators that were supposedly see through these lobbyists. And what I did see was from based on these 4 that you put here, DOS Logistics, every time we walked and saw somebody, they were walking in, meeting John Cornyn, meeting K. Bailey Hutchinson, while we're outside meeting with 23-year-old staffers, just accepting our proposals. And that was, to me, that was a waste of our time, a slap in the face. So, and I'm looking at these things, and to me, yes, everybody can write what they want to write, but I think Commissioner Charney and Carlos Cisneros was with me last year when we saw that happening right in front of us. And based on DOS Logistics being the cheapest, $5,000, I would move to motion to approve this, award this contract to DOS Logistics.
Okay, before you do that, well, you can do that.
Yeah.
But I guess
we can have discussion.
We have a motion and we have a second by Commissioner Cisneros.
Okay, I guess if we're going to have discussion on this, It's my understanding that Patton Boggs is a premier lobbying firm, and that my understanding from speaking to some staff members is that was their recommendation for a lobbying firm, and that essentially Patton Boggs, you've got former representatives, you've got congressional members, and they have knowledge in transit work. They've also worked with border issues with the city of San Diego, and they've also with transit issues with the city of San Antonio and other major areas. I mean, these guys, it's my understanding from speaking to other people who work in Washington, that these guys put pressure on the Hill, and that they have the ability to deliver if we provide them with a roadmap of what we want. And I understand if staff was willing to recommend that for $3,000,
$4,000.
well, those logistics is 5,000 and change.
53.
Okay, so for the difference, and given the fact that we only have a month and a half before we actually have to go to Washington, that I want to go to Washington with people who are going to put me, not just sitting down with Kay Bailey Hutchinson and our representatives who we should be able to, but people who are the directors of the urban transportation, who are directors and are going to get us in the door with people who are decision makers. And I think that given the backgrounds of these firms, Patton Boggs is probably the one that could do it. And I think that they have a reputation in Washington of delivering. I have no connection with them, and I haven't sat down with anybody there, but just looking at the websites and some of the other information and talking to people who have worked in Washington, this is a firm that can deliver if we give them a roadmap. If we just tell them, well, this is kind of what we're looking for, and throw our hands up, well, they're going to take our money like anybody else would. But if we go up there and say, this is our plan, this is what we want to do, these are the 3 or 4 issues that we want, I think this is a firm that at least has the credentials, and it looks like they've got Chris Bell from Houston and some other people who are from Texas as well that we have a connection with.
And in all fairness, whoever commission wishes to hire is better than what we got, which is nobody. And right now, it's very important to have somebody representing the city of Brownsville's interest in Washington, especially with talk of all this funding coming down from grants for public safety and housing and mass transit, and all these grants are coming down. So we need representation. We haven't had representation in Washington nor in Austin. So that puts us at a disadvantage as compared to other cities who I think are on the ball and are constantly monitoring and lobbying and reporting back and stuff like that. And that's what I would like to see in the lobbyists. Unfortunately, the perception painted by Commissioner Atkinson, based on his opinion, which is well respected, I think is wrong. Because if everybody will recall, Montgomery and O'Donnell got last minute notice that we were going up there. They were not our lobbyists. They are not our lobbyists. They did us the favor of representing us on the last minute that we went. Yeah, we paid them $5,000. What did we get in $5,000, which I think this commission forgets and does not appreciate? The city of Brownsville had not submitted one request for funding, not one, in appropriations time from the federal government. On the day of deadline, and Ben can attest to this, on the day of deadline, we had submitted nothing. Thanks to, when I got this report, I gave it to the city manager. We were willing to pay $5,000 for $5,000. They made sure our requests were submitted to the federal government on deadline. That meant for housing, airport, bus, all the grants that we've gotten. So it's important to have somebody, and it's not fair to say, hey, they didn't earn their keep. I think $5,000 was very cheap. Now, I had heard, and they've got a good track record, they represented the city before because they were hired by the city. This time it was just on the spot. But I had heard from them that they were willing to charge $5,000 a month because they already represent PUB. And they have a good track record of getting funding for PUB. Now, based on that, I would like to see, because if we're going to work with these people, we want somebody that's familiar with the city and PUB and they will give us the best return and monitor and report to us and make sure that we get our fair share. I would like to see Montgomery Watson hired and ask him to go back to that $5,000 promise. But whoever we get, it's got to be better.
What was that $5,000 promise?
$5,000 a month.
But they didn't put it on paper. They didn't put it on paper.
But I mean, that's what I heard, and that's what it relate to me. But I would, if we would consider that, I would like to go back and make sure that's.
Well, I think anybody that we talk to, we should talk about the price, and I would agree that we should talk about the price with them. But this is what they're quoting as a fee.
Well, you have the price before.
Yeah, we've got the retainer right here. It says $9,000 for Patton Boggs. It says $9,000 for Murray and Montgomery, and it says $8,000 for Myers and Associates, who we used last year, and it says $5,318.20 for Dos Logistics. The difference here, we're looking. Patton Boggs represents the city of Los Angeles, Denver, Jacksonville, San Diego, San Antonio. It's in Villa. It does all sorts of border issues. These other ones, well.
Just going back to Patton Boggs, what you say about the border wall. San Diego does have a fence, by the way.
Yeah, they do.
It's not. I mean, what they got out of Patton.
The question of what your city wants. If your city doesn't want a fence, then you push one way. If your city does want a fence, you push another way.
I didn't think San Diego wanted a fence either.
What I like about Patton Boggs is that they're very familiar with all these committees. They're involved with all these committees and subcommittees.
In all fairness, don't judge that particular firm because they have a fence. Some things you can do, some things you can't.
There is a thing called a congressional mandate. I don't know about that.
Well, they've had a fence for like 8 years.
I don't think it should.
So what are the wishes of the commission?
Well, like I said, I continue my motion for DOS Logistics. They are the lowest during this time constraints with our budget and economy.
We have a motion for DOS Logistics. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Cisneros.
Before we vote, as a matter of, I want some legal advice on, these are bids, right?
No, this is, you're going to hire somebody.
No, we request statements of qualifications.
For services.
Okay.
So if you vote.
I don't see paying an extra $4,000 is going to get us anywhere. We got a budget.
I think we need to. I think we're at a desperate time, and I think we need to go for somebody who's going to have a certain caliber and a certain.
You don't know that. You're just saying it.
Hey, I know.
Entitled to speak, they will speak.
It becomes a question: do you hire Baker and Botts, or do you hire, John and Joey's, law firm? It becomes a question, and that's where we are. Do we want to hire a big league law firm to do some lobbying for us for a short amount of time and see if we can get a result from them? Or do we want to pitch in with some people who may do a good job but have no proven track record? And that's a question. Well, you know what?
Wait. He's entitled to say what he feels or thinks and let him speak.
This is a one-year.
You finished, Commissioner Tranny?
Hey, do what y'all want, but I know where I'm going.
Is this a one-year contract? 1 year
with the option to 2 additional.
I'm going to add something too. If you read it, the people who we're going to talk to, this firm has connections with Salmo Ortiz, Ruben Hinojosa, Henry Cuerra, Sylvester Reyes. All the people we're going to go talk to, they have direct.
That we can talk to anyway. That we can always speak with.
Well, last year we didn't. We met with
I think we did
meet.
I think we did talk to Solomon Ortiz. I think we did talk to those people. Yeah, we did, and he's available, and he should be available because he's our representative. I think we need to go beyond that to people who make decisions on these committees and who are also involved in the decision-making process. If we can't get support from our own local legislators, I think we're doing a real poor job. That should be the last thing on our list. I think we should say, how do we go outside of our comfort zone, and how do we get input and help from other people for our community?
And it goes beyond just setting up a meeting. It's a continuous.
It goes beyond. It's about bringing money.
It goes beyond just setting up a meeting because he's got to be your eyes and ears throughout the year and continuously work for you on your behalf, stay on top of things and report to you. So it should not be based on because he got you the door. It's a matter of a track record. Is it politics or does he have a track record of bringing the bacon? That's what it should be about. And that's what we should be making.
And I don't think there's anything about transit in and anybody here but Patton Boggs and Murray and Montgomery. I think Patton Boggs has a better reputation than Murray and Montgomery.
And Murray Montgomery is getting paid, I think, $15,000 by PUP. They can do it for $9,000. Okay, he's got a track record, and I agree the professionalism between Patton Boggs and Murray Montgomery, I think, far outshines the others. But whichever one of the commissioners.
Just to add, Mayor,
say something, Commissioner Smith?
Yeah, I
don't
just
you
wanna
have
say
them at
that-
the county?
I want to say that for the record, those logistics is the lobbying firm for GBIC, and they've done an excellent job for them. I also know that they're the Cameron County's lobbying firm, and they brought in substantial amounts of money to Cameron County. So I just wanted to say that for the record, because they are proven from what I've seen. That's all.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say something?
Mayor, just a quick
Whoever
question.
we hire is better than what we got.
Mayor, just a quick question.
Need to try to hire someone.
Yeah.
Do we know how long
the
Dose
record, what is your
Logistics has been with the county?
I'm sorry.
How long has Dose Logistics been with the county, do we know?
Does staff have any other comments? Are there any other staff members who want to step up and make any comments?
Do you know?
We were trying to get you to make the decision without having them come up here and be
I'm
sacrificed.
just asking who wants to be a sacrificial lamb.
I instructed them to have to be seated,
Okay.
unless it absolutely needed to become, for them to come up here.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. And again, whoever's hired, we must work with them, and hopefully they'll deliver for Brownsville, and anybody's better than what we got. I'd like to see us hire also one for Austin. All in favor of Dawes Logistics?
Aye.
How many ayes? 3? Okay, all of, you're voting aye also, 4, so you got 4. All opposed?
Troyani and Camarillo?
Yeah.
Opposed? Or who?
Opposed.
Who's opposed? Are you voting at all?
I'm going to abstain on this one. I don't have anything for or against. I have no opposition to this logistics. I prefer Patton Boggs.
I prefer Montgomery, but I'm going to go along with Dawes. I'm going to give you the opportunity, and I will give them a yes. Hopefully they'll do it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion
Nay.
carries.
Vote adjourned?
Thank you. I'll
Support? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? We stay.
No, no, I mean,